Alex Pereira vs Magomed Ankalaev is a very interesting fight between two strikers, but one of those strikers can wrestle, and he needs to wrestle. If Ankalaev does not wrestle with Alex, he's most likely getting knocked out. And he is the best wrestler Alex has ever fought in his entire MMA career, even though he's not categorized as a wrestler per se. But the thing about every fighter that wrestled with Alex Pereira, he has beaten every single one of them. Every fighter who has attempted a takedown against Alex has lost to him in the UFC. But Will is wrestling. Alex has shown takedown defense in multiple fights throughout his career. He has fought against a total of 31 takedowns throughout his entire UFC career, which is actually a lot more than I originally thought. He has a 70% takedown defensive rate, and the last time a fighter shot a takedown was back in 2023 when he fought Yuri Prochazka the first time. The fighter that had the most success with his takedowns was Jan Blachowicz, the only fighter to take him down more than twice in a fight. So there are a lot of takedowns throughout his career, but not from the best wrestlers. Ankalaev is way better than all of those guys when it comes to wrestling. Even Jan Blachowicz, who Ankalaev out-wrestled to make the fight a draw. He was getting outstruck by Jan, he changed to a wrestling game plan, evened out the fight, and fought to a draw. And Ankalaev's wrestling is very basic for a Dagestani fighter. He's not really high level with it. He has a decent double leg. He wrestles off the fence well. He has good top position. He doesn't throw as much ground and pound though as he used to when he fought Paul Craig. And I think ever since he lost to that triangle choke against Paul Craig, he slowed down his ground and pound and has been a lot safer on top to not get submitted again. And Alex Pereira is technically a black belt on the ground. Who isn't a black belt? But Alex has most likely been working on his submissions, his takedown defense, to get up from the bottom, all of that stuff. So here against Yuri Prochazka, he lands a calf kick, stumbles Yuri Prochazka's stance, and tries to land a combination right straight into a left hook, and Yuri switches stances forward, leading with his right leg and right hand, which is his dominant, just like a wrestler would. And he does that because Alex's left leg is forward, so he can attack straight into that left leg, grabbing onto it for a single leg takedown. And while lifting Alex's leg up, Alex is very confident with his balance there, just throwing punches, not really defending the takedown itself, other than just using his natural athletic balance. No panic whatsoever, and Alex rotates to put his elbow onto the back of the head of Yuri, trapping his head there while lining up right uppercuts all in one foot while he's hopping backwards. And as soon as Yuri drives him into the fence, Alex attacks him with a headlock and then turns it into a guillotine, but keeping himself in that position. And as soon as Alex lets go of the guillotine and throws a right elbow, that's when Yuri goes to complete the takedown. Yuri turns a single leg into a high crotch, picks up Alex, and dumps him on the ground, while Alex is holding on to the guillotine, but he's on bottom and half guard, so he really can't get the submission there, but he has to hold into some kind of positional control, right? When he had the guillotine up against the fence, he didn't try to maneuver his way out of there or angle to get away from the fence, causing the takedown to be more difficult. He kind of just stood there for a while. Now the thing about Alex is, maybe his takedown defense isn't the greatest. He might get taken down by Ankalaev, but so far throughout his career, he didn't take a lot of ground and pound, and most of the submissions have been defended. In fact, there's only been like one submission in his entire career that he had to defend against, and that was Jan Blachowicz. He is much better defensively on the ground than he is stopping takedowns on his feet. He's good at protecting himself from the ground and pound, from the submissions. It could cause the grappling sequences to be very slow, riding out to the end of the round, or Alex getting back up to his feet, getting back to what he does best. Alex is always grabbing onto the arms, bicep control, underhooks, single collars. He's always breaking the posture of his opponent and occupying their hands so they can't really do anything offensively on top of him. Even against someone like Yuri Prochazka, whose entire mindset is offense, even when he's been on top of his opponents before in Ryzen, in the UFC, Alex did a very good job of stopping most of the offense, causing a Yuri grappling exchange to be slow, which is not the most exciting thing to watch, but for his skill set, this is amazing for him going up against a grappler. Knowing that he has that capability of slowing down the grappling, even right here, you see Yuri pick up his right arm, looking to throw an elbow down, and he's posting with his left hand onto Alex's face. He is looking to slam an elbow on his head, and Alex rotates away from the right arm. Look how he angles himself to the right, and look how he goes to control Yuri's right arm with his left hand, and from there goes to the single collar, breaking the posture of Yuri. He does take some elbows. Yuri doesn't posture as much. He doesn't get so far away from Alex before throwing the elbow for some quick strikes, lands a few of them, but then Alex is able to get on the inside of the elbow and angle himself to the right again. And as he's trying to stand up, Yuri lands another elbow on him while forearm fraying with his left arm, fights his way to the feet using his left overhook. And as soon as Yuri throws a knee to the body, that's a signal right there for Alex to escape the fence. He knows that Yuri is going to be planted on one foot. Sure, he's going to take a knee to the body, but to get himself away from the fence, it's a trade he's willing to do. Rotates him that direction. Even though Yuri has left wrist control and he escapes out to his own right, immediately starts throwing punches. Now here against Jan Blachowicz, he throws an inside leg kick. 9 seconds into the fight, Jan grabs the kick goes for a single leg takedown, pushes Alex up against the fence, and then you see the same technique from Alex again. Headlocks into a guillotine, and he had all that space to the left to escape the fence and the takedown itself, but he sat in position. This is something he cannot do against Ankalaev. If he has the space to move away, he should move out and just get back to the striking, because Jan doesn't have a great grip for any kind of takedown here. He's leaning back, so his weight is on his heels. But because Alex stayed there for so long, then Jan was able to squat down, grab onto the single leg, onto the right leg of Alex. Alex tries to resist it by squatting down as well, but Jan picks him up and rotates him into the fence, using his strength there. And Alex starts fighting against the takedown with a left headlock and a right underhook. The right underhook is going to create some separation between the two, so Jan's grip is not going to be as strong, but Jan switches from the left single leg into the right single leg. So that right underhook from Alex is not as effective. Jan's body is now leaning into the headlock instead of the underhook. The headlock is going to allow Jan to get in closer on Alex than if he was leaning onto the other side, holding onto the right single leg. But with the left single leg, his takedown is more effective, but Alex balances and moves into the fence to use it as a reinforcement to keep himself standing, and he fights off the single leg grip, grabbing onto Jan Blachowicz' left wrist. But Alex didn't make any more adjustments from there. Jan gets lower into a single leg, where now the headlock is not going to be as strong. And as soon as Alex lets go of the headlock, that's when Jan goes to complete the takedown. He pulls a single leg, moves back at a left angle, and turns Alex around the corner. And Alex tries to push Jan onto his head to reverse him, but it wasn't enough. Jan's able to get top control, get the body lock, and Alex makes the one mistake he cannot do when he fights Ankalaev. He turns to give up his back. Jan floats on top, gets the hooks in, turns it into a body lock, and goes for the rear naked choke. And look how he does it too. So he has both of his hands in front of Alex's chin, and Alex grabs onto the front hand so then Jan could sneak out his backhand, pull up Alex's head, and then slide his forearm down onto his chin. He tries to crush the chin, but Alex is able to fight his way out. Even after the readjustment from Jan, grabs into one of the arms, 2-on-1, pulls Jan down into the mat, but most of the round was spent in that position against the fence. In this other sequence, Alex throws a telegraph left hook from range. Jan ducks under the punch. Alex is hopping with the left hook, and there's an opening for a double leg takedown from Jan. Full drive forward, blasts Alex backwards onto the mat, but this time into the full guard. When he's against the fence, he tries to stand up, wall walk, straightening out his legs, and Jan gets on top into the half guard, hooking onto one of the legs, and Alex is pushing down on the head so he could try to get out of the grip of Jan, and he's stopping Jan from advancing for any kind of attack or transition. Jan acknowledges that and gets back up to his feet to stop Alex from fully getting up, so he tries to get on top of Alex instead of staying under him so he can apply pressure downward on top of Alex. But using that left overhook, Alex is able to get back up to his feet and fight in the clinch. Then in this sequence, Alex starts dancing in front of him. He's like shimmying, moving his hands up and down, overloading the nervous system of Jan Blachowicz, trying to get him to attack first. And remember, this is after the Israel Adesanya knockout loss, where when he had Adesanya up against the fence, he was throwing all offense to knock Adesanya out. He learned from that fight. He starts using feints, not just throwing strikes, and wants to see what Jan does in response to his feints. And Jan shoots a takedown, completely telegraphed. No setup whatsoever for the takedown. Alex pulls that left leg away, gets into the southpaw stance, slightly sprawls, throws in the right whizzer, left forearm frame on the head, and sidesteps away from Jan, just like a matador versus a bull. Jan shoots another double leg takedown, and Alex thought it was going to be a punch to the head, so he picks up his hands and there's the opening for the takedown of Jan. But quickly, Alex is able to get the right overhook and tries to fight in his left underhook, resisting Jan's drive against the fence. But when he gets in the left underhook, Alex throws a knee, and you can see that Jan tries to grab onto it. He wanted to use that as a takedown, but the knee was too fast for Jan to get a hold of it, and that caused Jan to be focused onto the knee. He starts leaning to the right side more, and Alex starts focusing on Jan's left underhook. He grabs into the forearm, pushes it away, and then pushes Jan away. And Ankalaev will also shoot takedowns at distance like that. He was able to take Jan off of his feet with a double leg, and maybe Alex is fast enough to sidestep the takedown, defending it. In this sequence, Alex throws a jab while sidestepping, and Jan slips on the outside of the punch and counters with a single leg takedown. Because he was able to get his head on the outside of the jab, he's able to follow through, keeping his head on the outside of the left leg, so he's able to lean his weight into that side, dragging Alex to the ground. That's why you see Alex's leg go from in between Jan's legs to the left of them. Jan pulls it that direction, leans his weight into it, pulls Alex to the ground. In the full guard, Jan's throwing ground and pound, but not really landing any big shots, and fights that into a decision. But at that point, both fighters were tired, especially Jan. And then in this sequence of Israel Adesanya, in the middleweight division, this Alex is not going to be as strong as he is in light heavyweight. I think he's better as a light heavyweight than he is in middleweight, but he did get taken down by Israel Adesanya. He threw a left body kick. Adesanya grabs onto it, pulls it through his left side to collide with Alex, getting a body lock. Alex is off balance, but he improvises. He goes for an outside trip, but because he's not stable there, Adesanya is able to rotate and slam him on the ground. Alex gives up his back. Adesanya doesn't throw in the hooks and go for a rear naked choke the way Jan Blachowicz did. He controls the back, grabs onto the wrist, lands ground and pound shots, shots, he becomes Adesanyamov in that third round. Just control ground and pound against the fence for almost the entire round. Now again, it's not the best example of Alex's abilities on the ground. He got so much better with his grappling, but he did also give up his back against Jan a few fights later. Now where Ankalaev's wrestling is mostly fundamental and basic, he's not the best wrestler in the world, but he is decent at it, right? There was one move in the beginning of the 5th round where he switched stances forward. He leads with his dominant hand and fakes a takedown, getting Jan Blachowicz to sprawl heavy, explosive defend the takedown, but it was only a fake. Ankalaev is able to capitalize. Jan gets off balance, and for there using the wrist ride with ground and pound shots, holding Jan on the ground for nearly the entire round. The right underhook has defended multiple of Ankalaev's takedowns. Because he switches stances with the left hand forward, he also likes to throw the left straight first before the takedown, as a natural switch into the dominant lead hand to begin the wrestling. So, is Alex Pereira's grappling good enough to stop Ankalaev's grappling? I don't think so. I think Ankalaev is going to get takedowns. I think Alex might defend a few, but he's not going to defend all of them. Ankalaev may not finish him on the ground. It might be slower grappling where Ankalaev is just holding top position. Alex is completely defensive and only tries to stand up or ride the round out, go into the next round and get back to the striking. But where he has to be so defensive in the grappling, he needs to be offensive and intelligent and get the knockout in the stand-up, because if Ankalaev is wrestling for the whole fight, he might just win. Alex's grappling is not non-existent, but there are levels to it, and he hasn't shown the level to rival Ankalaev's grappling. Now, if he can keep the fight standing, he's knocking Ankalaev out, but when you think of Alex's grappling, do you think Ankalaev is just gonna dominate him on the ground? Or is Alex's grappling actually good enough to at least keep the fight standing long enough for him to get a knockout? And I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. If you guys did, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I'll have my prediction video up in like the next few days, and I'll see you guys then.